Yo, thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I've got a great article here to start our Sunday off little pre-church episode. Joe Rogan claims a media psy-op is responsible for people having a negative view of Donald Trump. The MMA commentator and popular podcast host noted an apparent shift in media treatment of the first presidential-elect dating to a time before his first term. Hey, real quick, guys, before we get into it, if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, I actually remember this time. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, guys. So, Joe Rogan has claimed a media psy-op is responsible for creating a negative image of Donald Trump that has distorted people's perceptions of the president-elect. And that's not wrong, man. Donald Trump has been a media figure in this country for like 30 years, right? And way before he ever had a presidential run. I mean, Jesus, 40 years, right? Early 90s, I saw an interview by Oprah, and he was talking about the same trade deficits that he's frustrated with that we're dealing with now. Although at the time, I think it was Japan that was exploding, and we were dealing with trade deficits with Japan at the time. And his whole career, like from the beginning of us hearing about him and his opinions about the U.S. on the global stage, he's had the same exact opinions, guys. Like this whole idea that he's some sort of white ring fascist that represents some sort of a fascist move in our country is absolutely false. Back in the early 90s, Oprah Winfrey praised him for rallying against the same neoliberal principles that he rallies against today. And during that interview, she literally asked him, "Are you going to run for president? You should. I think you should." Dude, it's wild. Even during the late 90s, during the Reform Party, right? Like going into 2000. Dude, he was talking about the same thing. He was frustrated about the same stuff. And also when Richard Spencer, that white supremacist dude, right, went and started supporting the Reform Party, he immediately was like, "Yo, I'm out. I'm not with this, and I'm not with white supremacy." This is the crazy thing, man. They spent 9 years telling us that Donald Trump refused to denounce white supremacy, when not only did he denounce white supremacy at the press conference regarding Charlottesville, he denounced white supremacy early, like literally 15 years before his presidential run, back when he left the Reform Party, because white supremacists were joining the Reform Party. So this whole idea that Donald Trump is a racist, supports white supremacy, is a fascist, is exactly the media lies that he's talking about. He's also talking about when the media does stuff like they quote, they'll have somebody who got fired from the administration, right? And they'll quote them in an article as saying, "Oh man, I was by myself with Donald Trump when Donald Trump said he hates the military and he hates service members, man." And it's like nobody else was there to hear that. And the media will then pump that like it's a fact, bro. And then after that round of articles go out, they'll just start referencing it like it's something that happened. Instead of referencing that's a media claim in the past, they'll just start saying, "Yo, he said that. Don't you know he said that?" And it's like, dude, first off, you got one dude saying it. You got 5 other dudes saying that they weren't there and they never heard him say nothing like that, and they've never known him to speak on that like that. And then at the same time, you're going to just play it off like it's truth and it's fact? Bro, you're playing games with us. You're trying to play games with our mind. You're trying to use framing devices to alter the permanent record of history so then you can reference it later and create a narrative. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to play those games. First off, you're not intelligent enough. If some regular ass dude like me can see it, you're not intelligent enough, bro. The MMA commentator and popular podcast host noted an apparent shift in media treatment dating back to the first term. Joe Rogan Experience is one of the world's most popular podcasts with a listenership of roughly 11 million per episode. Damn! Rogan been having one of the key players in the 2024 election, having made a last-minute endorsement of Trump. Whoa, that's a lot of views, man. How do you compete with that, bro? No wonder he toes the line. You got to be careful. With a platform like that, bro, you got to be careful and responsible with what you're putting out there. You know what I mean? I don't blame him for being careful and stepping back. And he's friends with Alex Jones. You know he's been friends with Alex Jones since like the late 90s. So he really pulls it back with the stuff that he actually says on air. And I think that's really responsible given how large. I had no idea it was that large. That's insane. Joe Rogan has previously spoken out about the loss of credibility of so-called legacy media, TV broadcasters, and other traditional publication platforms, which he says has led to an alienation of lifelong liberal voters. They have, man. They absolutely have, bro. They are pushing an agenda. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know what it's all about. But from the escalation of climate change, from the escalation of LGBTQ into transing kids, from the escalation of a whole ton of these narratives, from this idea that Republicans are now some sort of fascist monolith, like all Republicans are some sort of fascist. Like, dude, this is insane, bro. The Democrats genuinely believe that they are surrounded by people who want to round them up and put them in a concentration camp. And they are being convinced to believe that at some point they're going to need to establish re-education camps to prevent these fascists from becoming fascist. This is what's wild about that narrative, dog. When Donald Trump won, you saw people saying, we are about to live under a fascist regime, and the only right they're going to care about is the right to bear arms. And so a bunch of leftists were arming up and getting guns because Donald Trump won, and that's the one right he's going to allow them to keep under the fascist dictatorship. Does that make sense to you, man? Does that make sense? A fascist dictatorship is going to encourage political opposition to arm themselves? Come on, dude. Like, the mentality is so broken. I don't understand how these people are lost in this psychosis. It makes no sense. It's insane. And the idea that January 6th was somehow worse than the Floyd riots. You're out of your mind. Dude, you're out of your mind. Bro, there's clips of reporters with entire buildings on fire. I'm talking about huge buildings on fire, saying that it's a mostly peaceful protest while people are running around and screaming behind him, bro. These are the games that the media has been playing with us for the last 4 years. No wonder they've lost credibility. No wonder they're losing liberals that are finally waking up. They lost me back in 2012. I guess they lost me kind of like more like 2010, right? But they lost me back in 2012 in terms of voting because I thought hope and change. Obama, hope and change. There was no hope and change. At that moment, I realized the difference between emotional rhetoric and when somebody's talking about policy. They got me once. They're not going to get me again. And I don't think this game, especially with the population dynamics and reproduction not meeting the replacement rate, like, dude, and then you're not going to get the youth vote so much anymore. That's not going to turn out like it used to during the 90s, 60s, 70s, 90s, 80s. Dude, and then on top of that, they're bringing in and importing all these populations. Bro, Hispanics are more culturally conservative than white people. Are you out of your mind? Dog, what do you think is going to happen? What did we just see with Hispanic men in this election, dude? You are out of your mind, bro. Dude, they're bringing in voters that are going to maybe be here for a year or two, and then they're going to agree with us, dog. Like, especially with the way they're handling immigration, dude? Like, do you think that the left is making themselves look competent right now to anyone, including illegal immigrants? No, bro. No. Speaking on an episode of his podcast on Thursday, Joe Rogan discussed the abrupt shift towards Trump, noting in prior episodes of The View and a 2000 endorsement from Oprah Winfrey, who told him he would make a good candidate for president. So I told you about the 1992 episode that I saw. But I didn't know she endorsed him in 2000. That's wild. Dude, so these people have loved him, even during his run for president. He called up Clinton and asked permission. He talked to Bill. He literally was in an interview and he was like, yo, I called up permission and talked to Bill and asked permission to run. And that's what made me think, because I'm so black-pilled, that's what made me think he was controlled opposition for a minute. But for real, dude, this is wild, man. Like during 2015, the narrative shift, right? At first they were like, oh yeah, no, it'd be fun, it'd be a great marketing thing, right? It'd be a great marketing thing. And then he starts running and they're like, ha 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 ha, no, we love it. It's really injecting some energy into the race. It's really making people interested, right? And then he keeps running and they're like, ha ha, yo, this is fun, but like, you can't win, right? You can't win, right? And then he keeps running and they're like, yo, stop, yo, get out. Yo, Hillary Clinton is the next president. What's wrong with you, dog? Yo, and then he wins and they just lose it. Like literally Google holds a meeting. Google literally holds an internal meeting that got leaked where they were like, we effed up. We're going to fix it. Next time, we are never going to let something like this happen again. What does that mean, Google? What do you mean you're never going to let something like this happen again? Do you have the right to never let something like this happen again? I don't think so, bro. The crazy thing is, y'all might not realize, but Google can manipulate and swing an election by 4 points. So let's say a candidate is ahead by 3 points in the election. It looks solid going in, right? Yo, if you got enough time out through managing the responses on search algorithms, Google can then swing that 4 points. So you could be 3 points ahead. And Google's out here using experimental psychology, messing with people's minds, and then all of a sudden you 1 point behind. Dude, this is the crazy stuff that technocratic neo-feudalism has to offer, bro. Like, seriously. And then when you start entering AI into the mix, dude, when they start having AI design ad campaigns and then testing ad campaigns and then correlating that with research on experimental psychology, do you understand? There's going to be ad campaigns that we aren't even going to be able to recognize, bro. Like, it's insane. Like, for example, there are dating apps where there are AI who are trying to catfish people. They'll be like, meet me here, date me here, right? And they will give somebody a restaurant to meet them at. It's AI. They never show up. They go and they get awkward. They start ordering a meal. Next thing you know, that restaurant got business because somebody got stood up for a date by a chatbot, bro. This is the crazy world that we're starting to enter, dog. This is how far the games that the media play can go. Google manipulating your mind now already with the search algorithms. Can you imagine come 2028, come 2032, the types of games they're going to play with your head to try to get you to vote the way they want you to? Dude, it's going to get wild. What we saw is the greatest media psy-op in history, he said. When you're seeing Trump, regardless of his flaws, is a massive concentrated psy-op. They've distorted who he is to the point where most people think that way. Most people think that way. They've had narratives. And it's true. We just talked about all the media narratives that they pump through people's heads, especially Google, with those subconscious headlines. As you're reading, as you're scrolling, it plays off the bandwagon fallacy. And the bandwagon fallacy is this idea that if everybody thinks this, it must be true, right? Well, it's not. The bandwagon fallacy is effective because it plays off of our nature for tribalism that we got into the other day. But you want to agree with your group. You want to be agreeable with your group because historically that improves your survival conditions, right? And you can actually see that in play by all of these suckers and losers that are playing up to the establishment, man. Everybody that's a shill for the establishment. Everybody that pumps the establishment message, even though they don't believe it. All of these political pundits that are out here talking about stuff they don't even really care about because they after a check goes to show you how sometimes going with the flow in the group actually really does get you a little more at the end of the day. But what does it do for the group? And what does it do for the collective, bro? It creates more attack surfaces. The group stops adapting. This group stops overcoming, okay? The group stops evolving. And so over time, it's detrimental to the group. And that's why it's inappropriate. The term psy-op is an abbreviated version of psychological operation, a military operation usually aimed at influencing the enemy's state of mind through non-combative means, as we've seen through operations like Operation Gladio, through the Russian version I forget the name of, even the Voice of America has been involved in stuff around the world, bro. Like this happens all the time, bro. Joe Rogan went on to highlight comments about illegal immigrants made by former President Trump challenger Hillary Clinton in 2018, which he described as wild MAGA type shit. Dead ass. No, literally. Hillary Clinton, bro, in 2008 and in 2016, bro. So in 2008, Hillary Clinton was MAGA on immigration, right? In 2016, Hillary Clinton was not MAGA, bro, because MAGA is anti-war, but she was a neocon war hawk on starting World War III. Her language on dropping nukes, bro, she was ready to drop the bombs, bro. There was no games. Dude, I was scared of her ass just because of what she was saying during 2015, the campaign. She was unhinged, bro, with the types of things and the hard stance she was taking on China and Russia. And she was like, if you so much as cyber attack us, we're going to come at you with kinetic action. And if I say drop the nukes, 4 minutes, they better be dropping those nukes. I'm like, whoa, dog, stop, back off. No, not her, no way. No way. Dude, seriously. In 2008, Hillary Clinton was more MAGA than Trump. But how about that? More MAGA than Trump. It's all an effing illusion. It's all an effing illusion. All of them, when convenient, have said the exact same things. Absolutely. Joe Biden is a perfect example of that. So you've got Hillary Clinton and the super predator comment in the 90s. You've got Joe Biden calling a bunch of black youth predators in the 90s. And yo, these people will say whatever they think gets them elected, dog. And if we're talking about disenfranchised black youth or inner city youth, it's not a race thing. It's a region thing. And it has to do with food deserts. It has to do with economic depravity and a lack of resources and a lack of funding. I have an entire article called Our Inner City Communities because I am heavily familiar with them in my life, in the course of my life. And it's all about the mechanisms that create the environment that promote that toxic ignorance that creates the cycle of misery that is in our communities. And it's all about how to approach the generational trauma. Okay, look, there's an issue that people are not aware of yet in our society, and I think it's growing in awareness, but there's an issue when a child is exposed to so much cortisol when they are younger that their brain is unable to produce or be exposed to an adequate amount of oxytocin. See, cortisol and oxytocin are handled by the same reuptake inhibitor. So when you are releasing a ton of cortisol in your brain, it's actually blocking the uptake of oxytocin. And oxytocin is extremely important for the development of your amygdala and emotional cognition. And that's really what's behind so much of what we see in the inner city right now. And so I've got an article all about how to apply that understanding to approaching our inner city communities and how you can supplement curriculums and reach out to these kids that don't really have anyone else to reach out to them and kind of help them work through their trauma in a way that gives them an opportunity to produce more oxytocin and develop more of social cognition, because that's what's behind our inner city communities. These comments that they make with the super predator, all this stuff that you hear with this false empathy language, bro, these people have no idea about a solution. They're being talked to by some sort of corporate interest. And most of these politicians that you're voting for actually ran because they were approached by a PR firm that thought they could get them to win. Like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. These people are actors, bro. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is an actress. She does not believe a single thing she's saying, dog. She gets a script and she stays on it, and she's good at that, for be real. Yo, they're thinking about running her at 2028. Do not buy into that, bro. She's a shill. She is no different than Kamala Harris, dog. If we want a real leader in this country, and if we're obsessed with making it POC, Kathy Barnett's a great option. Look up Kathy Barnett. If we're obsessed with just making sure it's a woman, Tulsi Gabbard would be another great option, dude. We don't need AOC. We don't need Kamala Harris. We don't need Hillary Clinton. Y'all can walk off, all right? Anyway, guys, yo, thank you so much. Enjoy church today, guys. Yo, even if y'all don't believe in God, church is a great opportunity to expose yourself to some higher level thinking concepts, some higher vibrational concepts, guys. Seriously, man. And if you guys could do one thing for me today, if somebody approaches you in a way that you don't appreciate, and if somebody approaches you in a way that sets you off, just do me a personal favor. Just let it go and just walk away, guys. I really appreciate that. All right. Hey, thank you so much, guys. And you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next one after church.